indecent assault and battery on a child, 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of permitting injury to a child, and 2 counts of reckless endangerment of a child, witness intimidation, and indecent exposure. The sexual assaults allegedly occurred on various dates from about September 1st of 2016 to about June 30, 2017 in Worcester, when the alleged victim was 10 or 11 years old. That concludes today's Worcester Telegram and Gazette. This is Irene at TIC, and thank you for listening.
You've just heard news stories from the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. Please stay tuned for more programming.
Unity Message of Hope, a non-denominational ministry serving people who are blind or visually impaired, has a virtual library of downloadable .brf Braille Unity publications, an audio lending library along with daily word in Braille, available free of charge. If you would like more details and information on this, please call toll-free at 866-421-3066. That's 866-421-3066. Or send your email requests to message-of-hope@unityonline.org. And if you would like to download Unity books in .brf format, simply log on to www.unity.org/Braille.
Thank you for listening to the Massachusetts Reading Network, a window to independent life in your community from Cape Cod to the Berkshires.
This is Volunteer Reader Doug, broadcasting from Marshfield, Massachusetts. Stay tuned for more coming your way next.
WRRS Middleborough, Pittsfield, WVBF Middleborough, WDJM Framingham, WUML Lowell, WLLO Londonderry.
Coming up next from the Talking Information Center, news stories from the Lowell Sun.
Thank you for tuning in to the Talking Information Center Network. I'm Laura Kerrigan, and today we're reading the Tuesday, September 11, 2018 issue of the Lowell Sun. Our lead story is 3rd District Recount Ordered. This is written from Staff and News Service Reports. Our dateline is Boston. The recount in the Democratic primary for the 3rd Congressional District race, with a mere 122 votes separating Lori Trahan and Daniel Coe, was officially ordered by Secretary of State William Galvin Monday afternoon. The result might not change, but the numbers will change, Galvin said at a press conference. The recount is bound to focus on the 3,227 ballots that were counted as blank for the congressional race and whether the voters made any indication of a vote that wasn't registered by local election officials. Galvin said in each town and city, elections officials have 1 week to recount the ballots, which will be bundled into packs of 50 and reviewed under the discriminating eyes of campaign officials. Reviewers can challenge any ballot to the Board of Elections and then in court. We have full confidence in Secretary of State Galvin and his office to oversee the recount process, Trahan spokeswoman Gretchen Grosky said in an emailed statement Monday afternoon. Early Monday, Trahan's campaign said she was confident in her 122-vote lead and would not seek a recount. I'm thrilled by the newly certified election results confirming that I'm the Democratic nominee for Congress in our community, said Trahan in an emailed statement Monday morning. Trahan, a Westford resident, and Coe, an Andover resident, had both filed signatures from communities around the district Friday as part of recount petitions. Coe's campaign is focused on such communities as Haverhill, Methuen, Andover, Gardner, and Fitchburg. Dan is committed to making sure all ballots are counted, Coe's campaign said in a statement Monday afternoon. The closeness of the results out of 85,000 votes cast, the significant changes in vote counts in some communities, and the latest very serious concerns raised by Secretary of State Galvin make it abundantly clear that a recount is necessary to ensure everyone knows who won the election. We want the process to progress as swiftly as possible so that the ultimate nominee will have adequate time and resources to win in November. The process, designed to be transparent to voters and the campaigns, could drag on beyond the September 17 deadline set by Galvin's office if the campaigns are eager to challenge every questionable ballot. Galvin said the recount needs to move quickly so his office can print ballots for the November 6 election. Results from 88,818 votes cast show Trahan in the lead with 18,527, ahead of Coe by 122 votes. These figures will be superseded by the recount. Galvin, criticized for scheduling the primary for the day after Labor Day, said turnout was significant for the primaries. About 721,000 Democratic ballots and about 280,000 Republican ballots were cast in the primary, he said. Considering all the concerns about dates, said Galvin, obviously voters didn't seem too troubled. In emailed statements from her campaign, Trahan said Monday she will fully cooperate with the recount. But as the presumptive winner, she's looking forward to the November 6 general election, in which she will go up against Republican Rick Green of Pepperell. I respect the right of the Coe campaign to pursue a recount, but with the general election only 57 days away, I won't wait another day to begin this general election campaign against a Republican millionaire who supports Donald Trump, Trahan said in a statement. Starting today, I will continue listening to voters and talking about why we need real change in Washington. We need a Congress that's on the side of the working people and that treats women with respect. This report was compiled by Sun staffer Elena Melanson and Brian Dowling of the Boston Herald. Our next headline is Acton Fitchburg men face charges in an Acton robbery. This is written by Aaron Curtis, and our dateline is Acton. 2 men were arrested after allegedly assaulting a man and stealing his cell phone and BB gun near the Concordian Motel on Hosmer Street shortly before 3 a.m. on Saturday. George Nini, age 41 of Acton, and Joseph Monero, age 20 of Fitchburg, both were charged with unarmed robbery, according to Acton Police Deputy Chief Jim Cogan. The victim sustained minor injuries from the assault that did not require medical treatment. Nini and Monero were both held on bail over the weekend in Acton, said Cogan. The details of their arraignment in Concord District Court on Monday morning was not immediately available. Our next article is Maloney inks a new 4-year contract to lead UMass Lowell. Written by Rick Sobey, our dateline is Lowell. UMass Lowell Chancellor Jackie Maloney has been credited for accelerating the growth and momentum of the university since taking over for her predecessor, Marty Meehan, and her work is being rewarded with a new 4-year contract. The Sun has learned that Maloney has signed an agreement in August that will keep her at UMass Lowell through 2022. Her base annual salary in the contract's final year will approach $500,000. Meehan, now the president of the UMass system, said in a statement, Chancellor Maloney has been both an incredibly effective leader and a passionate advocate for UMass Lowell since 2015. We are pleased that the campus will experience continuity of leadership for the next 4 years as it continues its ascent. Under Maloney, the university is enrolling more students than ever before and graduating them at a record pace. She's also raised UML's global profile as a top research and innovation center and increased the university's fundraising prowess and endowment. A provision in Maloney's contract also puts in place a smooth transition to help in the recruitment of her own successor. Maloney will announce her retirement on June 30, 2021, the anniversary of the 3rd year of her new contract. During the time of the search for the new chancellor, Maloney will serve her 4th and final year. This approach serves mutual purposes and benefits that have been discussed and agreed upon, the contract reads. Maloney's original contract was through June 30 of this year. She will now serve as chancellor until June 30, 2022. On Monday, Maloney said she's looking forward to staying at the university through 2022 and continuing to work on various 2020 strategic plan goals. We're moving in the direction we hope to, Maloney said. We have a very positive and a very promising outlook. When asked about the retirement clause in the contract, Maloney said 4 years is a long way from now. I've been here a long time, and those thoughts do cross my mind, she added. She said that most chancellors get 3-year contract renewals. President Meehan wanted Maloney to leave the university for an extra year, while a search is conducted for her successor, she said. He is a very strong believer in succession planning, said Maloney. Maloney's contract calls for a base annual salary of $444,000 from July 1, 2018 to June 30, 2019. It will jump to $455,100 from July 2019 to June 2020. Her next salary increase will be to $466,477. Maloney's salary will be $478,139 in her final year. The contract includes a clause for performance-based compensation in an amount of up to 24% of her base annual salary. That's subject to annual performance reviews and the achievement of defined goals. She's also entitled to a maximum vehicle allowance of $12,500 per year for the purchase, lease of a vehicle or for a university-leased vehicle. Meehan said, with exciting new research projects and facilities coming online, a successful fundraising campaign wrapping up, and a campus transformation still underway, Chancellor Maloney will be seeing through both the completion of the UMass Lowell 2020 strategic plan and the visioning for the campus's next era. He added, "This is great news for UMass Lowell, the University of Massachusetts, and the Commonwealth." Maloney was unanimously appointed by the UMass Board of Trustees in 2015, becoming the first woman to lead the university. She's been at UMass Lowell for more than 30 years, serving as a professor, researcher, dean, and executive vice chancellor before getting appointed chancellor. She's also a double Riverhawk with a bachelor's in sociology and a doctorate in education. Maloney has been called a pioneer in web-based learning, revolutionizing the division of continuing education to include online programs that now serve 25,000 students nationwide each year. In less than a decade, UMass Lowell has achieved record gains in student enrollment, academic preparedness, diversity and graduation and retention rates. Maloney on Monday said she wants to surpass 20,000 students. "We feel our star is rising," said Maloney of the university, with more than 18,000 students. "We are becoming the go-to place for students." Under Maloney's oversight, UMass Lowell launched its first ever comprehensive fundraising campaign with the objective of raising $125 million by 2020. With nearly $115 million already pledged, the campaign is well ahead of its goal. Maloney said they will soon raise the goal to $150 million. "We have some very ambitious goals," she said. Our next headline comes from Chelmsford, with the Chelmsford Board rejecting regional dispatch on a 3-2 vote. This is written by Aaron Curtis. Selectmen narrowly rejected plans to join a regional public safety dispatch center Monday night. The board sided with opinions of local dispatchers and their unions, who have asserted regionalization puts minimal financial savings ahead of public safety. Selectmen Emily Antool and Pat Wotas were the first 2 votes in favor of regionalization. "I believe in regionalization, but I don't believe it's the right time to do it," said Chairman Glenn Diggs, who, along with Selectmen George Dixon Jr. and Kevin LaFabre, voted against the measure. Diggs' vote, which broke a 2-2 tie, was met with a standing ovation from those in attendance, several of whom spoke up against the regional proposal during the meeting. "Mission accomplished," shouted one woman after the deciding vote was cast. The Board of Selectmen decided against regionalization 3 years ago, but decided to re-examine a proposal to join Tewksbury and Draycote in the planned Northern Middlesex Regional Communication Center. Construction on the Tewksbury-based center is expected to begin in October. Discussed benefits of regionalization include included increased staffing during events and emergencies, state grant funding and professional growth opportunities for dispatchers, and savings for the town. Town Manager Paul Cohen said the town's current annual operating cost for the dispatch totals about $850,000, including salaries, other pay, uniforms, equipment, training, and fringe benefits. Subtract $118,000 in state 911 and training grants, and the net cost comes out to roughly $698,000, said Cohen. If dispatch joined the NMRECC, Chelmsford's estimated assessment would be about $738,000, according to Cohen. Since the state provides greater incentives for regional dispatch, the town would receive state 911 and training grants totaling about $325,000, bringing the net cost to about $413,000, said the town manager. Cohen added savings would be reduced by about $200,000 in order for the town to keep the police department lobby staffed at all times, as well as an estimated $154,000 in annual equipment savings. As a result, Chelmsford's total annual savings would come out to roughly $239,000. The overall town budget is about $133 million. The board received letters from union chapter chairs urging rejection of a regionalized center. The common sentiment called any cost savings marginal in comparison to public safety jeopardized by an unproven regional authority. In an emergency, when seconds can mean the difference between life and death, the consequences are far too dire, stated Sandra Hall, Chelmsford Clerical Workers Chapter Chair for AFSCME Local 1703, in one letter. Chelmsford taxpayers deserve better, she concluded in her statement to selectmen. The relationships, local knowledge, and close communications we share with the public safety dispatchers allow us at the Facilities Division to perform our jobs and serve the town of Chelmsford much more efficiently, stated Adam Faulkner, Chelmsford Facilities Division Chapter Chair for AFSCME Local 1703, in a separate letter. Losing those connections will most certainly hurt the quality of life in Chelmsford. Chelmsford's taxpayer and public safety dispatchers deserve better, Faulkner concluded. A letter from the Chelmsford Police Patrolmen's Association asserts regionalization will lead to a loss of local control. With our dispatchers located in the Chelmsford Police Department, our supervisors and patrol officers have a direct line to our dispatchers, states the letter. Incidents can be monitored and controlled from the department while dispatchers are still handling the calls. The letter also referenced the $200,000 to staff the police department lobby, which Police Chief James Spinney reported would necessitate 5 officers. The staffing would require a lengthy interview process, followed by academy and field training, according to the Police Patrolmen's Association. This entire process would take about a year, states the letter. During this time, the patrol section of this department would be undermanned and overworked. This would definitely cause a public safety issue. Tewksbury Town Manager Richard Montori, a Chelmsford resident, said during a past meeting, Tewksbury had many of the same concerns as Chelmsford when it was considering regionalization. Ultimately, he said, he and the police and fire chiefs felt joining would enhance public safety. Montori said the regional center allows the town to have a state-of-the-art facility and equipment, and training for dispatchers beyond what they've traditionally had. He added it provides additional coverage to handle major crises, as well as professional growth opportunities for dispatchers. Dracut Town Manager James Duggan also spoke during the past meeting, stating just like when new dispatchers aren't entirely familiar with their town receive training, so too will dispatchers in the regional center. Our next headline is Former Lowell Resident Joins UMass Board of Trustees. Written by Aaron Curtis, our dateline for this article is Lowell. A year after graduating from UMass Medical School, Kenyan immigrant and former Lowell resident Dr. Noreen Chioma Akwara has been selected as a member of the UMass Board of Trustees. Currently an internal medicine specialist at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, Akwara was sworn into the 19-member board on Monday, according to a press release from the governor's office. Dr. Akwara is a hardworking and dedicated individual who will bring experience and passion to the University of Massachusetts, said Governor Charlie Baker in the release. I am proud to appoint her to the Board of Trustees, and I'm confident she will serve with distinction. While living in Mombasa, Kenya, as a teenager, Akwara's 9-year-old brother died from injuries suffered in a car accident due to lack of medical care. Akwara said this tragedy led to her life's mission to become a doctor. In medicine, I found a reason to keep going, said Akwara in a story published by The Sun in March 2017. It was this hope that there was something I could do about it, that I could keep someone from going through what I went through. In 2017, Akwara graduated from UMass Medical School in Worcester, nearly 10 years after immigrating to Lowell at age 17. As a medical student and undergraduate, Akwara received the Charles D. Baker II Scholarship, awarded to students who approached each day and each challenge with persistence, optimism, and grace, stated in the Monday's release. After completing her undergraduate degree in biology with honors at UMass Boston in 2012, Akwara conducted research on HIV immunoregulation at the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. Dr. Akwara's commitment and drive she demonstrated as both an undergraduate and as a medical student will well serve the Board of Trustees, stated Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito in Monday's release. Her determination, grace, and courage is inspiring, and we are pleased she will continue to be a part of the UMass community. Our next headline comes from Fitchburg, with Fitchburg State, a green light to online courses, written by Amanda Burke. Fitchburg State University last month became the first four-year public university in the state to receive clearance to offer online courses to students nationwide, said an official. The university was approved to participate in the State Authorization Reciprocity Agreement, known as SARA. SARA is an interstate agreement that allows colleges and universities located in a member state to offer online courses to students located in other SARA member states, according to the Massachusetts Department of Higher Education. Massachusetts was approved to join SARA on June 7, according to the State Higher Education Office. Alberto Cardell, FSU's provost and vice president for academic affairs, said previous to joining the agreement, FSU negotiated with each state in which it wished to offer online courses individually. Fitchburg State University has won approval to offer its online courses to students in 30 states, he said. Now with SARA, we're authorized everywhere that participates in the interstate agreement. According to the National Council for State Authorization Reciprocity Agreements, the only state not participating in this is California. Fitchburg State University joins 11 other colleges in the Commonwealth that are authorized to enroll students from other SARA states, according to the Massachusetts Department of Higher Education. With the agreement, Fitchburg State can begin recruiting students from 49 states to enroll in the school's online courses, said Cardell. The college can also begin offering financial aid to these students, adding that SARA also makes it easier for students enrolled in online courses that require real-world practical experience to find internships. Currently, about 1,000 students enrolled in Fitchburg State University's degree or certificate programs take courses entirely online, said Cardell. With the authorization, the college will begin marketing its online programs, including that for a Master's of Business, Nursing and Education, to a wider audience. FSU has been offering online courses since 2008, said Cardell, earlier than many of the other education institutions. That puts us ahead of a lot of our sister institutions and competitors, he said. And here's a feel-good story from Dracut, another Old Home Day success story by Amaris Castillo. Marked the 18th annual Dracut Old Home Day as a great success. We were very pleased with the turnout, said Dave Paquin, Vice Chairman and Event Coordinator of the Old Home Day Committee. We had an excess of 10,000 people in attendance, and all of our vendors were well received, and a lot of our food vendors after 3 p.m. were starting to run out of food, which is a pretty good indicator that they did rather well in selling their product, and they brought enough product to satisfy the needs of the people. Thousands filtered in and out of the free community event held from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday at the Inglesby Elementary School at 1580 Lakeview Avenue. There were food and arts and craft vendors, school groups selling baked goods to raise funds for projects, and more. Last month, Ken Cunha, chairman of the Old Home Day Committee, said he looked forward to at least 15,000 people attending this year's event. On Monday, he said this year's estimated attendance numbers were closer to 11,000. They all enjoyed the event, especially the kids, said Cunha, of those who attended this year's Old Home Day. It's a family thing. We keep the prices down so families will come. According to Paquin, the day's highlight included a skydiving team descending onto the Richardson Middle School field and hayrides sponsored by Shaw Farm in Draycote. As usual, proceeds raised from Old Home Day are expected to go back into the town. Last year, the Old Home Day Committee gave its largest single donation to date to the Draycote Police Department for the purchase of 10 vests and 10 ballistic helmets for the agency's frontline cruisers. Cunha said the committee doesn't know yet where funds will go this year, but members will meet on September 20 to discuss the requests for donations they received. And in local business news, we have this story from Billerica, Staying in Touch with the Business of Their Dads by Elizabeth Dobbins. To make the business go, their fathers worked long hours. Sons Doug McLean and Nick Campisi remembered. Sometimes Bob McLean and Ron Campisi clocked 3 shifts in one day. For years, they went without a salary. And when they finally got time off, after long days working side by side, they went on joint family vacations. To me, it's really just amazing they still wanted to spend their downtime together, said Nick, who is Ron's son. Half a century later, that delicate balance of friendship and business remains at the center of Shield System Car Wash, according to their sons, Doug and Nick. Because of their friendship, Doug and I grew up together, said Nick. It created that bond Doug and I have. Doug and Nick now co-own the business, which has 5 locations, including 3 on Boston Road in Billerica. In 1968, their fathers and a third partner, Rick Zioli, all friends from Lexington High School, decided to use what they learned through after-school gigs washing cars to form a full-time business. Their first location opened at Fresh Pond in Cambridge, the current site of Alewife Station. They soon expanded to Brighton and over the years opened a number of car washes, including one in Rhode Island. The first location in Billerica opened in the late 1970s or 1980s, said Nick and Doug. Today they have locations on 783 Main Street in Winchester, 365 Western Avenue in Brighton, and 3 Billerica locations, 259 Boston Road, 455 Boston Road, and 570 Boston Road. Each of the 3 original owners had their own area of expertise, they said. Zioli understood the technical part, which he taught to Nick before the business changed hands. Ron focused on customer service and marketing, while Bob handled legal and corporate decisions. They could do everything, but they all had their own niche, said Nick. Business partnerships are often short-lived, but in the case of the 3 founders, the partnership held strong until they retired in the 2000s, according to Nick and Doug. Today, of the 3 partners, only Ron Campisi is living. The first generation of owners argued, sometimes heatedly, but not at the cost of their friendship, said Nick and Doug. They were able to separate their personal feelings to look at something objectively, said Doug. All the times I've seen that happen, they're always able to break things down for the better of the business and make the right decision. Though Nick and Doug both worked for the family business in high school, neither expected to one day run it. Both went to college. Doug became an engineer for Sun Microsystems. Nick worked for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and was considering medical school. However, as the owners looked to retire, the conversation turned to selling the business, and Doug and Nick considered returning. Legacy is an important thing, said Doug. What would happen if we would sell is there would be no more Shield System. He said a recent 50-year reunion that brought together the original owners' families emphasized that bond. Several managers in the company have also worked at the business over 25 years, according to Doug. After returning and working for the business for about 5 years, starting at the lowest position, Doug and Nick became owners in 2008. Doug, age 43, lives in Winchester, and Nick, age 39, lives in Andover. Young and with bold ideas, Nick said they introduced several changes shortly after taking the reins. Some worked, some didn't. In many ways, we've come full circle in a lot of ways, which really speaks volumes to where they were 10, 15 years ago, said Doug. Recently, the biggest change is the technology. They introduced an app specifically made for the business where customers can order or gift car washes. Soon the app will also keep track of purchases to count toward loyalty points, said Doug. The owners also implemented a membership service where a customer can purchase unlimited car washes each month, he said. To celebrate their 50th anniversary, the business is offering half-priced washes with 50 cents donated to local Rotary clubs on September